Can we be that fun?
You are like more the fun guy in our company, I think.
I don't think anyone has ever accused me of being fun. Wait, but if we call ourselves Sensu Studio, won't people think we're like manufacturing or selling fans?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, right.
And
My
like,
hometown, yes.
What was it called again?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, no one has
To be honest, it just
it.
sounds like a European person saying that they don't know where you're from.
You might want to guess like how much I charged for my very first job. Yeah.
But I just know that when it was finally released, every single person was credited except for me. I just wanted power and glory.
Hello everyone, welcome to the very first episode of Talking Sensu, a podcast produced by our company Sensu Studio, where we will chat with creators and professionals in the film industry and photography and other related creative fields in Japan. My name is Hai.
And I'm Jeremy.
Today, the very first episode will start with just the two of us, but we are planning on inviting some guests in the future to talk about their experience, their journey. What we were envisioning for this podcast is basically to have like casual conversation between like creators and sharing what we experience in Japan, especially as foreigners, or like even like Japanese who are like working here, but like in the more in the international field. We were thinking to start it off with just introducing ourselves for people who don't know us yet, like why we are in Japan, where we're from, like what our experience is, how we ended up now having a company in Japan. Jeremy and I, we've created our own production company in the beginning of 2025, which is called Sensu Studio. And I guess maybe Jeremy can explain a little bit about the origin of the name later, since it was his suggestion, I think, wasn't it?
I believe so. That's what I recall.
I think when this video is actually out, Sensu Studio, will probably be a year. So since we actually created the company, right?
Yeah, if we actually go ahead and release this, it will probably be past our 1 year birthday.
Yeah, let's
and we're going to have to throw a party.
Actually, to be honest, like with this in mind, I was also thinking, okay, after a year, we probably have like some experience worth talking about. So I thought like, yeah, creating this podcast would be a nice way to like just share our experiences and
little did you know.
Yeah, right. And then share our experiences, see if it helps someone, and also like just a good way to connect with other people. I thought would be nice.
I think it's also about not only what we've learned, but what other people have learned. And of course, we're hoping that through these conversations, not only whoever's listening to this, but we ourselves will be able to pick up on a lot of good information from whoever we happen to be talking to in the future.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's one of the big points, yes. And also just personally, I'm listening to a lot of podcasts and I was always thinking like to create one myself, but I never had like the courage to actually go through with it, especially if it's just me. But when you said like you were also interested in trying it out, I thought like, okay, nice. Now we can actually...
Of course, the funny part of that, as I think I've already told you, is I have never been one to listen to podcasts all that much. Yeah. And I only started listening to one, I don't know, a year or so ago.
Oh, really?
And
okay.
It's very, very different than this. I never use the podcast app on my iPhone.
Yeah.
I'm usually just putting it on in the background on YouTube while I'm doing other things. But even though it's a very, very different subject, it seemed fun. So the question is, can we be that fun?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, if we're not fun, at least interesting and helpful. Yeah.
You are like more the fun guy in our company, I think. As you said, like I'm more like the serious guy. So let's see if I can keep up with your
I don't think anyone has ever accused me of being fun until now. Yeah, especially not in my last job.
Okay, well, actually, how about we start with this?
I don't know if I want to talk about that in the first episode.
No, I mean like not in length, but just introduce yourself maybe, and afterwards, like you go first, and then me maybe. Like, for example, where you're from, and then why you're in Japan now, and how you started, and just a quick summary.
So as I stated it earlier, my name is obviously Jeremy, and I'm from Vancouver, Canada, or that region, and I've been in Japan since March 2015, and I don't speak enough Japanese for the length of time that I've actually been in the country, and that's always a source of embarrassment and contention. But I moved over here with no plan. I actually had no idea what I was doing. I had never been outside of North America until I came here.
That's so crazy, man.
Yeah,
like
and,
basically no connection to Japan, but you just want to come?
Yeah. I mean, maybe I can get into the things that drew me in a little bit later, but I came here, I spent all of my money on like getting what was it called? Getting the working holiday visa, and of course the plane tickets. And I had a couple connections actually that I'd formed quite recently, like just prior to my move to Japan.
From Vancouver?
Yeah,
okay.
In the Vancouver area. Both of them Japanese. They lived in Canada, I think, around 2013, 2014. I don't even recall like how long I knew each of these people, but both of them offered me a place to stay when I actually came over here, at least for a short time, until I kind of got on my feet. Little did they know it would be hard as hell for me to get on my feet. But no, I came over here and I did a little bit of sightseeing in my first week. And I was only shooting photos on my iPhone 5 because I had just bought a Canon Rebel T5i, which is a crop sensor, like entry-level DSLR, just 2 months before I came to Japan. And I thought, well, if I'm going to Japan, I want to be taking some good photos, right?
But interesting. You were into photography back then as well?
Yeah, I mean, I did photography. I had one class in my college course, which was, I majored in graphic design.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe I should have mentioned that earlier. But anyways, yeah, I did photography a little bit as a hobby, usually on a point and shoot until it was stolen. Classic Vancouver. And what else? I did photography at an art studio that I worked at. It wasn't anything creative. It was more like work in progress updates, for clients, or just getting like textures and shapes and works that we could use in later mock-ups or marketing materials. I don't even remember what camera we were using back then, but it wasn't great. But yeah, I got a camera, came over here, didn't use it for the first month or two because I was just so busy getting adjusted to life here.
Can't imagine, man. Like,
I've
never been here before, right? Like that's just like the first experience. Okay, interesting.
Like, one thing that I always enjoy mentioning, because to anyone who doesn't know Tokyo and doesn't know Japan, they don't know the nitty-gritty details. They don't know the characteristics and reputations of each neighborhood. So I always love saying that in that first month when I was searching for a place to live, I didn't want to live in a share house because I had my fill of share houses in the last year in Vancouver. And I just felt like living with other people was a nightmare. No offense, other people, but
I mean, I lived in a share house like for the first 2 years, I think, even longer, I think. But continue.
Well, I went to a realtor in Akihabara because I don't even remember why, to be honest. I was in Chiba at that point, staying with the second contact that I had, and I guess Akihabara was relatively close. And in my head back then, like Shinjuku, Shibuya, Akihabara, all of this was just downtown Tokyo. Because in Vancouver, there's only one downtown area, right? I didn't realize how these larger sprawling cities worked. But I went to a realtor in Akihabara, and he showed me 3 apartments. I just said, I want to be close to Shibuya because...
that's where you want to be in your 20s, I guess.
Like, it was just, I'm probably going to be using the station for work or for meeting people. I just knew it was a central hub. And he showed me a place in Sasazuka. It was too expensive, and I didn't really like the Keio line much. I think that was the Keio line. Showed me a place in like Yoyogi Uehara or Yoyogi Hachiman. But it was this ancient apartment on the first floor that looked like something out of a horror movie. And then I wound up in Ikebukuro. And I was like, this place seems cool. Yeah, I'll take this one. Of course, little did I know that what kind of neighborhood Ikebukuro was. If I could go back and do things differently, I would not have ended up there. But once I finally got settled, that's when I started to explore photography a little bit more earnestly while I was navigating the few part-time jobs that I'd found.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then that's basically the beginning. And then, You were here, and then.
Oh, I mean, like we can cut like 75% of that.
Okay, let's jump right. Okay, let's. Then I guess it's my turn. My name is Hai Le, and I'm originally from Germany, but my parents are Vietnamese.
I like how you always have to preface that. People get confused otherwise, right?
Yeah, really, like now I like their faces or like their reactions to it, but in the beginning it was kind of annoying because every time I get like, wait, you don't look German at all. Like, what's happening? Especially like 10 years ago, or like
coming from North America, that's fucking wild.
It's the same in Germany though. But yeah, then I came here the first time actually in 2012, just for I think holiday 3 weeks or something. First.
Wait, in 2012, how old were you? Were you in high school?
No. I was already like in university. Like it was my second year, I think. Basically, the reason why I want to come to Japan is because I was studying Japanese in university, and I recently found out that I got the scholarship that for the exchange year in Tokyo at the Sophia University. So I thought before I go there and study there for a year, I just make like a short trip with like some friends. So that was my first time actually. But yeah, and then at the same year in the summer, I came over here in as an exchange student for 1 year, 2012 to 2013. And I liked it so much that I immediately decided like I want to come back after graduating with like a working holiday visa because this is like the easiest way for people to actually get it, like to live in a new country, I guess.
Sorry, quick question. Because back when I first came, the limitations around working holiday visas between Japan and Canada was like you could get maximum 1 year, and it was actually done in 2 6-month like increments. Like, so you actually had to go to immigration and renew for that extra 6 months after the first 6 months. But I have heard now, I think maybe Canada or maybe a whole bunch of countries, I think you can get between 1.5 and maybe even 2 years now.
Really?
So how about in Germany? Like how long were you able to come over here?
For me, it was like 1 straight year. Like I didn't have to do any like extensions or something.
And
like after
that
6
wasn't
months.
that wasn't like your choice. That was the maximum you could get.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And as far as I know, or like I thought always like, for example, if you go to, it depends on the country you're going, right? Like for example, to Japan, it was 1 year. But as far as I know, even back then, if you, for example, go to Australia, it was like 2 years or something, because Australia is like the most
lenient in a way, right?
Spot to do working holiday, I think.
Yeah, my buddy, one of my close friends did a working holiday for I think 2 years. From Canada to Australia.
Yeah. That's what I remember. I don't know what the rules are now, but back then, I used that visa to come here, but not actually to travel or anything, but actually to find work and just like to live here, because I liked it so much during the 1 year when I was a student. Like coming also from like a place with like just 3,000 like people living in that.
Germany's the least populous country in Europe.
It is, I know.
No, I mean you're talking about your hometown, right?
Yeah, my hometown. Yes.
What was it called again? No one knows. I don't know.
Yeah, no one.
To be honest, it just sounds like a European person saying that they don't know where you're from.
Maybe
I don't know.
But not even like German knows it. Like many people, they never heard it. So I always say like I'm around Bonn area, because that's where I studied for sure. Yeah, no, actually, no, I studied there for 3 years, and with the 1 year in Japan, 4 years. I came here and then worked in a Japanese company first. Like
which Japanese company was that?
The very first one is like just some e-commerce company, but then I worked like for 3 years in Sony.
But it was Sony Mobile, if I recall correctly, wasn't it?
No, wait. It's a little bit complicated. I think the first 2 years was Sony, and then afterwards we were transferred to Sony. What were they called again? But like, you know,
there's so many subsidiaries.
Yeah, you know the headquarters is in Shinagawa, right? So I used to work there. And then
you were at the headquarters.
Yes, for 2 years, I think. And then they sent us to Shinagawa seaside.
Yeah. That was the office that I think you didn't like, right? I remember you telling me about it. Like,
no windows. Not, like,
well, they had
like,
windows, but they always had the blinds drawn, right?
Yeah. And like it's your
welcome to Japan.
Usual office work. Like it was kind of horrible. Like at least for me, like I don't know, like depends on the person, I guess. But yeah, it didn't fit me, and
I mean, I think not only your work, but even your personal life, from what I recall, it was just so vastly different to what came next, right? And I feel like that's kind of why we started not only this company, but also this podcast now, is to really talk about what it is that happened next for us, right?
I mean, yeah, for me, it was, I decided to become a freelancer in the film industry.
Yeah, so basically majoring in like Asian studies in Germany and then coming to Japan and working for Sony as a typical white collar seishine and living in Kamata. And then suddenly like, oh, I'm going to move to Nakameguro and become a freelance like filmmaker. That's quite a change.
But to be honest, like I didn't even know that Nakameguro had like this image of like
oshare.
Yeah, people, like creative people like going there or like hanging out there. Like as you know, like my only reason was like because I have a friend there, like Robert.
Yeah. I was actually chatting about that yesterday with someone. It's the second time now I've heard that there's this image, at least. I don't know if this is among anyone in the film industry, including internationals, or if this is more of a Japanese thing, but apparently Nakameguro has the image of like, this is where the directors, the DPs and the creative directors and kind of like the top level people in the industry are. Yeah. Whereas like maybe the more Koenji and Nakano area is where all of the like assistants and gaffers and like second ACs and all that live. Really? Yeah, I've heard this now from two people, one Japanese and one American.
I guess then there's something to it, right?
Well, I don't know. That's the thing to note here is that a lot of the people that we've met, including ourselves, are from a variety of backgrounds. Yeah. And as hard as it can be sometimes, I think we're fortunate to have found ourselves doing this. You know, it's pretty cool. Yeah. But maybe we should talk a little bit about what exactly each of us do or what we started doing in the industry. Yeah. And maybe you can take it.
Yeah. I moved to Nakameguro and then started out as an editor, being freelance as an editor. Because the reason was I was always like interested, even back then, like in Germany or like when I was like studying here or like traveling in Japan. I made like all those videos.
And I think this is clear for most people, but just in case, you mean video editor.
Yes, video editor. Right. Yes.
I mean, my first job in Japan, or my second job, was editor, but that was for an online magazine.
True. I had the same thing when on the German podcast. I was saying editor, and then I had to clarify because even in German it means like either for magazine or
it can mean a couple things.
Yeah, video editor, because I was always interested in it. Doing it was really fun for me to create something like by myself, and I did like back then in high school. I did like with a friend like some silly videos of us like doing silly things. Okay,
you know what's funny? I did the same thing. But I have a feeling the level of silliness is perhaps a bit different.
You mean
I would never show it. It would never see the light of day.
Yeah.
I mean, we were pure cringe.
I think like the videos with me and my friend, they're online somewhere.
Really?
Yeah, you know, like back in the days when YouTube like is starting to grow, and like there were like Ryan Higa and like
I don't know who that is.
Okay, like back in the days, he was like one of, I think, the biggest YouTuber, and or like people doing like how to say it, like lip syncing to like songs and doing like stupid stuff like this.
I haven't seen that either.
I guess it's.
I'm trying to think. One of the guys I watched on YouTube back then was like a gamer guy named Toby. Okay. I feel. Of course, there's Charlie the Unicorn, but no, people lip syncing. I was not
doing these kind of like stuff, or like actually kind of what you nowadays call vlogging, like us basically just walking around in our small town and like doing stupid stuff. Anyway,
so YouTubers were annoying even back then. Huh?
Yeah, I guess.
Public nuisances. Yeah.
But yeah. Even back then, like we filmed just with like I don't remember what camera it was, but it was just from my dad, like. The one which is, I don't know, like this point and shoot, I guess you call it nowadays. We just took it and filmed ourselves, and I was like editing it on what was it back then? Windows Movie Maker. And then when, in university, especially in Japan, then I wanted to show like my life in Japan to my family. So I was doing like monthly vlog videos, kind of basically just filming and then putting together, put some music under it. And so they can like watch like a kind of slideshow of me.
Just showing off your life in Japan, making your little brother jealous.
Yeah, basically that. And that was like on iMovie back then.
Okay, I think I used iMovie as well, actually, for one of my old music projects. Yeah.
So that's basically what I want to say is like I always had this interest in this field, but it was never like a thing I would dream of like pursue as like a professional, like how you say it, like as work.
Yeah.
Because I was studying Japanese, as I said, and then I was in my head, I already speak like German and Vietnamese, right, and then English. So I thought, okay, my way should be like being a translator or an interpreter or something, like use like my skills with.
You wanted to actually contribute to society before you,
instead of like what we're doing now. Yes. So, and then in the share house, and I guess in this sense, it was good that I was living in a share house because one of my roommates back then, he knew that I was doing like these videos, right? So
wait, which roommate was that?
I don't think you know him. He's now actually in where is he now? He's from Australia. Oh man, I don't want to say something wrong. I think he was from Australia, but he's now in the Netherlands. But he also knows Nell and Robert. Like,
okay.
But he went back anyway. Like he was working in a recruitment company, and he was just asking me if I can do a video for them. Like just showing, introducing their employees. And since he knew that I was doing videos, he just asked me, and it was just really like, I back then had no idea how to conduct like an interview. I had no idea about like mics and stuff. So, but I wanted to do it because he was also telling me like, yeah, we would also pay you. So how much would it cost? And I didn't know anything back then. So you might want to guess like how much I charged for my very first job.
Ichiman yet?
No, actually it was Sanman. So it's like 30,000 yen I got out of it for planning all this, filming, editing, and then doing all.
I mean, it sounds like a lot, but I still know people even today who do more for less, you know?
I mean, but the thing is, I guess, I mean, when I started out, I was also helping out like for free. And it always depends if you can get value somewhere else, right? But
it's curious though, just to hear how your initial interest back in like high school or college, you know, in Germany, just in making some sort of video content or entertainment it was always kind of in the back of your mind, you know, like it was maybe not at the forefront in terms of education and goals, but it was there, as you said. And it was the same for me. You know, I mean, even before iMovie, I can recall using Windows Movie Maker when I was probably 16 or 17 or something to make a couple videos with friends.
Now I'm actually curious. Like I want to see those. We should share them and see who's more cringe.
The thing is, my friend and I basically, we came from different musical backgrounds, but we both loved music.
Okay.
So we kind of just merged like acoustic singer-songwriter meets pop punk and grunge on his side.
Okay.
And like death metal on my side. So imagine an acoustic guitar with like death growls and zero like musicianship, really.
I think you're being strict to yourself again. I mean, what people don't know, you were in a band before.
Yeah, but this was still probably 4 years like before that band.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
this is something else.
Steps.
Yeah. But I did use iMovie now actually to make videos for the band back in like 2010, I recall.
Okay, wow. So you were also editing back then.
That's
kind of funny.
It's just back then, even when I was editing videos, I didn't think like, hey, I'm editing videos, I can be an editor. It didn't even cross my mind. I just thought, this is what I want, and I need to find some way to get it done.
Yeah, that's basically what it was for me as well.
Yeah.
But it just happened that it was also fun for me to see like the steps and how it changes and how the end product is. Yeah.
So when you moved to Nakameguro, that was, what was that, 2018?
18, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because of course I met you right around that time.
Yeah,
right?
like you were one of the very first person who actually came to my place. When
Yeah, despite not knowing you.
Yeah, I just moved
I
in,
mean,
like,
you
for
were
a month.
taking a risk.
I mean, Robert already said like he's a cool guy.
Vouch
so,
for me.
Yeah.
I wonder if Robert has ever said that I was cool.
He does. He did, definitely. I mean,
I'm touched.
for real. Okay, just for people who don't know, maybe Robert is one of our good friends who's also working as a photographer, but now is slowly shifting to being a personal trainer. Just
I mean,
as a side note.
he's been making the shift for about a year now. He's a very accomplished person, and I hope we can have him on here at some point.
Yeah, I would love to. I just met him the other day and just told him like it's crazy how he managed to create like 2 businesses from scratch, basically, right?
No, he is he's an accomplished guy and a lot of things, including networking, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, he's the reason why, like, he helped me out so much when I moved to Nakameguro, and then he was already like a freelance photographer, so he introduced me to all of the people he knew back then. That helped a lot. Yes. So just to go back a little bit, so after I got this job done for this recruitment company, that was actually the moment where I realized, oh, I can make money with something I love to do. Like, I mean, I like to translate. It was fun in a sense, but I couldn't see myself even back then, like sitting like in an office for like 9 hours a day and just doing it without anything changing. Like I was not really talking to people. I'm not the most outgoing person, but still, like, it was, it was rough, to be honest. Especially even if the office would have been like more modern, or like I don't know, like how you, like nowadays, like those shared offices, if it would even look cool, or like be a place where you can like I don't know, where you like to be, then I think it's a different thing. But it wasn't even like that. So it's like just this weird hospital lights going on with no daylight, and you don't know if it's like dark or bright.
You don't know if it's daytime or if it's in the middle of the night.
So that was,
it's just eternal corporate gloom.
Yeah. So I realized it wasn't something I wanted to do, like, or pursue like forever. And especially the thing that annoyed me the most was definitely the thing about, even if you're like good in your work or like fast or have done all your work, you still need to be there until 6, and it felt like so.
Now you're not just talking about corporate work in general. Now you're talking more about Japanese work culture, or at least your experience with it, right?
With it, yeah, because I'm sure it's not only Japanese. Like, I think like some corporate, it's just like the old way where you don't have flex time and stuff. So,
like, let's list a few other countries in Asia, right?
Yeah. So I don't know. I've never worked actually in Germany, so I can't tell for sure. But
no, I hear you. It's kind of the same for me.
So rather than Japanese, I mean, obviously, the one thing I would never recommend to any of my friends about Japan is actually the Japanese work life in like a Japanese traditional company.
Yeah.
But I guess that's a topic for itself. But so I realized at that point that I wanted to be my own boss, want to like decide what I'm doing. And that's the reason why. And of course, because I saw Robert doing his thing in photography and already being a freelancer. And he also kind of like told me like...
I mean, he was recommending you to do it, right?
Yeah. So I. But even then, I still waited like, I think like half a year, because I wanted to like get like a buffer. Like didn't want to just change. But at some point, I was
you got to take the plunge, right?
Yeah, I was like, man, I can't do it anymore, because I didn't have enough time to even like do things. And sometimes I got like jobs in and then I couldn't do it, or I need to like take day offs and stuff.
I hear that.
Yeah. So yeah, that was basically my thing, being freelancer. And then I was doing like a lot of editing, but I was then also working.
You were editing like what kinds of videos?
Yeah, I was I was very interested in documentaries, creating documentaries. And I thought it would be the easiest thing to do by yourself to create like a portfolio. Mm-hmm. Because I don't want to be in front of the camera. So, I was thinking, how about telling other people's stories? And I was already interested in hearing like what other people do. So I started this series of like interviewing people and doing like mini documentaries about them. And when I met you, I thought it would be really nice because back then you were also like doing illustration.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
at that point, I was primarily focusing on illustration
Yeah.
outside of my day job.
And I mean, I still think it's really great work what you're doing. Like I really liked your stuff, so I thought it would be really interesting. And then when I asked you to do this documentary with me, I think from that point we became actually like close friends, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I immediately admired your hardworking, diligent, efficient German work ethic.
even though back then I didn't know what I was doing, to be honest.
I mean, I remember when you and Matthias came to my apartment to interview me, and you like had your little lav mics and stuff, and I think you had, was it a 2-camera setup back then as well, I think?
Because I was using my own camera and probably Matthias' camera.
Yeah. And I was just like, damn, like these guys are legit.
Really? Like it was so random. But I think it turned out pretty well, like for back then. Obviously now when I look at it, there are things I want to improve. But
I mean, I still look back at that and I'm like, that's pretty cool. I wish it was about photography instead of illustration.
I mean, maybe you can do a new one then.
Yeah.
But this helped me a lot in terms of this got me a lot of work, to be honest.
Yeah. I definitely recall you talking about
This
that.
got me the work at NHK, where I edited like a feature documentary. That was my first time working with them, and through that I got like the contract with them to work with them like for 3 years or something.
Yeah, he was going around knocking on people's doors, asking if they have a TV.
Yeah, right. No, being like a video editor for them.
Yeah.
And I got through that portfolio piece, I got to work with James Latimer.
Right, James Latimer, right.
Yes.
He saw the illustration one, didn't he?
Yes. And then I was fortunate enough to help him with his projects, which was the first time where I handled like, I think back then he shot on a red camera, I think. Like basically until then I was only editing like footage from my own. I think back then I used this Canon camera.
Really?
Yeah.
You weren't using like the Sony A6?
No, that was like afterwards.
Huh.
Oh, maybe I don't remember anymore.
The point is, it was basically an entry level cropped sensor like vlogging camera, more or less, right?
Back then
like
it
8-bit
was,
video.
Yeah. Back then when I bought it, it was like brand new and it was like everyone like kind of recommending, so I just got it. Like I have not too much knowledge about like gear, to be honest.
I feel like neither one of us is that interested in gear, which is how you ended up with that camera, which is one of the reasons we now are shooting on an FX3, right? It's like,
But yeah, that's how it started out, and it's kind of funny, like now looking back, like how everything connects, because back in the days, obviously, like you don't know how things will work out, you're like unsure, like being a freelancer and stuff. But I would say like after that, having like the contract with NHK, that gave me like the, how you say it, like continuous work.
Yeah.
That helped a lot. And I don't know, like should I like just now move forward to when I tried to move away from editing and became a director and then now producing? I don't know how far I should like.
I mean, how much do we want to cover in the first episode? Like, how much time do we have?
Because we also have your side as well. So maybe we can stop here for now.
I mean, we also have to leave something for the future episodes that I hope we are able to make, right? Because
we want to talk about our company as well, right? So like in that kind of sense.
Yeah, so maybe I can tell a little bit of my story now. Just so we, I don't know, don't get like too one-sided in one episode.
Yeah.
We'll handle it. Well, we'll see how much we can cover, and maybe this can become a 2-parter before we have our first guest.
Yeah, let's see.
Anyways, my work history, I feel, in Japan might be interesting to like college kids who have an interest in coming to Japan, but probably isn't the most thrilling thing for people who are interested in the film industry or the film industry in Japan. But just a quick recap. I majored in graphic design in college, and then I did some like retail jobs and stuff here and there in Canada, but I ended up working at a decorative arts company as, what did they call me? They gave me the most like, what can I even call it? They gave me the most pretentious job title. It was like it was like senior marketing coordinator or something like that. But
sounds really...
this company had like 4 employees and like 15 contract workers, and they never had a marketing department. Basically, I was the in-house graphic designer who was responsible for a lot of like communications, some like secretary type duties, as well as some marketing related tasks.
Yeah.
But I did that for a few years. And then, of course, I came to Japan, as I stated earlier, and I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. I mean, I worked at a restaurant for like a couple weeks before I realized I never want to work in a restaurant again.
I didn't know that you were in the...
Yeah, at a restaurant in Aoyama. But that was
in Japan?
Yeah, no. I've never worked in a restaurant except for that one experience in Aoyama.
Wait, how did you do it? Because you need to speak Japanese, no?
I mean, it's Aoyama, right?
So, okay.
Yeah, they were just like, okay, this is like Haizara. And I was like, Haizara, got it. You know?
Okay. Wow.
They were like, can you say arigato?
I didn't
And they're
know
like,
that.
if the customer truly, if you guys truly cannot communicate, you'll just pass it on to another server. But that was actually the least of my concerns back then.
Okay.
But yeah, I did that for a very short time.
Yeah.
And then right around the same time, I got a job at one of those like, what can you call it? Like Japanese content websites. Imagine like I don't know what's called now. Maybe Travel Japan or like Cool Japan meets Sora News 24. You know, that kind of thing, right?
Okay, yeah.
So we were covering like basic stuff like how should you behave at a shrine, and have you ever heard of like Meiji Grand Shrine? Let me introduce it to you. And then of course like this new anime cake at 7-Eleven. Like it was a lot of it was brain dead stuff, but there were some cool things here and there. And I was also doing a little bit of photography with that because like once I started traveling around Japan, I thought, well, hey, why don't I just use this to write an article for the website, and then I can use a couple of my own photos.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and nice. I really hoped that was going to be like opening doors where it's like, oh, maybe I'll get a stay in Yamagata or Fukuoka, like totally comped, and I can just take photos, and never happened.
But the thing is, like now that I realize is you already had this idea of becoming a photographer. You want to, like, there was this...
Well, back then, my job title was, I think, just editor or junior editor or something like that. I'd have to find the old business cards. Yeah. Basically, writing articles was much, much more important than making our own photos. Like we did not have the budget for that. We were using a lot of like stock photos and websites where we have to like credit where the photo came from and all that, right?
Okay.
It wasn't a thrilling thing. It was not like I imagined. Actually, I did that for 6 months, and then shortly after I left, I think within the next 6 months, they were sold to another company and just absorbed, and that website doesn't exist anymore. Okay. You probably have to find it on the Wayback Machine or something. But you would, I guess, be able to find some of my old articles on the Wayback Machine.
Do you have them? Like
I have some of them, I saved, like, there were a few that I was proud of, you know, things that I'd written kind of on my own, and I just said to the company, hey, do you want to use this? Yeah. And for a couple of them, they were like, hell yeah, we want to use that. That's cool. And I, you know,
that's
my confidence soared briefly.
I didn't know that. I always thought like, okay, you came here and then you started out as illustrator. Like,
no, I mean, because as I think you know, after I quit that writing job, wait, did I quit or was I fired? I think I was I think I was pressured into quitting. Yeah, it wasn't a great work environment in the end, but it's not even worth talking about, to be honest. Yeah. So after that, I did the typical thing that almost any foreigner, especially any like white foreigner from North America, does. And I started teaching English to adults. I was like, kids, no. No. I don't do kids. I wish I could say I'm good with kids, but no. So teaching English to adults, and I did that from the end of 2015 until the beginning of 2025. That is actually the longest job I've ever held, technically. Yeah. And during that time, I think it was in 2015, might have been late 2015 or maybe mid 2016. It's a little hard to recall at the moment, but I got back into illustration because I've been drawing my whole life.
Yeah,
right?
That's why I thought.
Just drawing from the time I could like put a marker to paper.
Yeah.
And
I remember that phrase you used.
Did I? Yeah, I mean,
documentary.
it's true. I think I got it from my parents, but I got back into illustration.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe I can just create some cool pieces for myself, and maybe one day I can like be part of a small gallery pop-up in Harajuku or who knows what.
Yeah.
And, back then I was working on like super hyper detailed, like black and white monochrome illustrations that were very much in the vein of, it feels kind of like big-headed or overconfident. I like to compare myself to these greats, but back then I thought, Vanya Zhavlyov or Aaron Horkey, or of course the French engraver Gustave Doré, right?
Yeah.
I was very much influenced by that, and Japan's own Ito Junji, one of the best mangaka ever. But I digress. I got back into illustration, and one of my acquaintances from Vancouver, I didn't know him very well, a fella named Artem, came to Japan, I think like 6 months.
Now. It's Artem, the same Artem?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's someone that I hope we can have on. But anyways, so Artem, an acquaintance, came to Japan, and he had been to Japan before.
Yeah.
I think I met him because we met some of the same Japanese people in Vancouver, and he had that experience that I wanted to know a little bit about,
Yeah.
And he came back to Japan, and he was really into video. I think he went to like the Vancouver Film School or Film Institute or whatever it was called. And he was a compositor, I think, at one point. And then when he came to Japan, he was just making like his own little indie videos where he was DP, he was director, he was editor, he was colorist, he was doing everything himself.
Yeah.
And I guess I was one of the few people that he knew in the area. So he was like, hey, can you help me? Like, can you hold this camera, or can you be in my video and stuff? And I'm jumping back and forth all over the place here. But then in 2016, he was still in Japan, and we were still in contact. And I think it was towards the end of 2016, he was like, hey, I'm working with this company called Powered by Tokyo. I'm making a few videos for them. I would love to have some illustrations appear in the video.
Yeah.
Can you do that? And like, how much would you charge for it?
Yeah.
He's like, I don't even know if there's a budget, but is this something that you can do? And I was like, hell yeah, I can do it. I knew about Powered by Tokyo, and I thought that was
you already knew?
Yeah. No, I knew about them probably like right around the time that they launched, or whenever there was a whisper of it. I thought it was the coolest thing back then. I don't even know if they're still around, but back then I was quite taken with the whole website and the whole concept. Yeah. And from there I kind of thought like, maybe I can actually do illustration for work.
Oh, okay. That's was your moment, basically. Like,
because I'd done it in the past. Like in Vancouver, I did a lot of freelance illustration, mainly for black metal bands, death metal bands, mainly in Canada, right? But I kind of grew disenfranchised with that because metal bands, at least back then, no one had a budget, and they all kind of wanted the same thing, I felt.
Okay.
Fair enough, right? I mean, if it fits. But I quit doing it for money, and then in Japan, I kind of came back into it. And I know this is getting long-winded. I have no idea how you're going to chop this down. You're just going to be like cutting all over the place. But
I mean, it's a good bit.
But anyways, of course, you met me around that time. You probably met me like a year later. I had done a few illustrations for a few Powered by Tokyo videos. I don't even remember all of them or who all was involved.
Besides that series you showed me? There was like a series of 4 videos, right? Besides that, you also did other things?
No, there was. I can think of at least one more thing that I did an illustration for. I just don't know that they ended up using it or not.
Oh, okay,
it was like, I don't even remember the director's name, but it was called like The Hat Maker or something. And it was kind of a little drama, like a little fictional narrative centered around a guy that actually made hats. And it was kind of cool, kind of cute. But after that, I can recall doing like some kind of live drawing session and showing some of my works at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe those can like appear on screen now, but
maybe.
I can recall doing some of that in Shimokita at some electronic music event. I might have done a couple of things like that. But
are those online like now? Can people actually see
I'm really
those?
trying to recall. I feel like probably for the majority of 2018, I didn't really get any illustration commissions in.
Okay.
I feel like at that point, you know, aside from the English teaching job, which I was doing 6 days a week, I kind of had my attention split, you know, between just when I wasn't relaxing, just drawing and then photographing things. Because of course, this whole time, I was always photographing everything.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I was photographing where I went. Sometimes I was photographing what my girlfriend at the time made.
Yeah.
I was photographing, you know, the street outside, either on my Canon or on my iPhone.
Yeah.
I was photographing my own drawings or my like work in progress, right?
Yeah.
So photography was always there. But in 2018, shortly after we met, and when I was introduced to Matthias, and of course at that point I had met Robert, whose photography I greatly respected and still do. But it kind of pushed me a little bit more in the direction of photography. Right?
Okay.
And it's kind of ironic that you made that illustration documentary back then. When,
because that's what I thought you were doing.
I've always been terrible at focusing. I probably need to get tested for ADHD, you know. But anyways, of course, in 2019, I think that's when I started to like work a little bit with James Latimer of Capsule. And, you know, I created some posters that matched his vision for some of his short films. And then he required some storyboards, so I tried to help him out with some storyboarding. And then around the time of the pandemic, you know, this is just such a time of like great upheaval. And I don't even mean with everything that happened in the world. I mean, just personally, right? So much changed. And I recall moving from Otaku to Gakugei Daigaku, right? Just a stone's throw from here, and actually getting more into storyboarding. And I thought, hey, if I want to be a part of the film industry, maybe I can just do illustration. Right? And
okay, so back then you were still like, that was your goal.
So even though I was really into photography, I would still say that my interest in how I could participate in the film industry was still kind of through the lens of illustration, ironically.
Okay,
you know?
but I'm curious now, what was the exact point where you say, okay, I don't want to do illustration anymore, but now really focus 100% on photography? Because at some point you were saying, I mean, I know that you told me that you realized that for illustration, it was just too much work and it kind of hurt your hands. And but was there a point or something that happened that say like, okay, no, this doesn't make sense anymore to pursue, and it's easier to do? Or was it because of the people you hung out with?
No, I don't know if I would say that it was like just this moment, you know, this like epiphany.
No, okay.
Right?
A steady.
It was relatively gradual, but from that first storyboard that I did in Gakudai, you know, this is after the ones I did for James Latimer. Gemly Kanado. I don't know if he still uses that name, but
I think actually.
The first storyboard I did in Gakudai was for an Adidas commercial. I don't remember the name, but someone reached out on one of those like Facebook groups and just said like, we need a storyboard done over the weekend, you know, Adidas paid. And I was like, hell yeah, right? You know, I wear Adidas. This is made for me, right? But anyways, from there, I think that either the producer or the director, it's all a little mixed up in my mind now, but one of them quickly reached out with another storyboarding gig, which I think was for a Bose like quiet comfort earbud commercial.
Okay, I think
And then, of
Talked
course, from there, I got a Yamaha like headphones commercial job, and I know I did a couple storyboards for Nakama. I remember one of them was for Kiri, like the cream cheese,
Oh, nice.
But one thing that always bugged me was that a lot of the storyboard jobs, not all of them, but just a lot of them, demanded really quick turnaround times. It was like, oh,
Right,
can you do a storyboard for a commercial in the next 3 days? And I was like, initially I was like, yeah, I can.
Yeah.
You know,
Doing all those all-nighters.
Yeah, I'll call in sick to the Eikaiwa, you know, and I'll just I'll do it all night.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to sleep anyways in that noisy apartment, right? So that was initially okay, but I quickly realized like, oh, there's a trend here, you know. And anytime, I mean, not anytime, every single time someone reached out to me about a storyboard, it was like, how much would you charge for this storyboard in this amount of time? And they never gave me a shot list. They never gave me a script. They never specified how many drawings or like how many drawings a particular scene would need, you know, how much the overall thing would need.
Yeah.
There was never any specifics, and I always had to press for that. And I feel like half the time I wasn't even given a shot list. I was given a script, and I was like, but what is this?
Yeah.
You know, you know, I need the DP or the director to communicate to me what needs to be done here, because I feel like I'm taking like, maybe this is, I don't know, maybe this is kind of shitty of me, but just at the time I thought like, there's too much work on my end. Yes. You know, I should just be drawing. Like, I feel like you should have your shot planned. Just give me a reference image if you need, you know, or give me a good description here. But I very rarely got that. And I felt like I was putting in my own limited creativity, you know, because I had such limited experience aside from just watching and enjoying movies, you know?
I'm wondering if it's, as you said, like usually what kind of, like who's contacting you in this case, like project manager or something? I wonder if it makes more sense. If it's something they can't provide yet, then you definitely need to probably talk to one person who's in charge of the visuals, right? Either the director or like the DP.
I feel like I was usually I think that I was generally contacted either by a producer or a director, and often it would be like both of them maybe in one email chain.
I see, okay.
I don't recall ever talking with a DP.
I'm not too familiar with how usually the workflow is, especially like for commercials.
I think it depends heavily on who's involved, you know?
Yeah,
like a lot of the directors that I worked with, I think probably one of them that comes to mind is a guy named Dan Boyanovsky from LA, I think. But I think, you know, he was the primary creative force, and, you know, the DP would maybe serve his vision. Yeah. So there was not really any need for me to talk with the DP. Yeah. But but in
this case, you get the shot list, right?
That's actually what I'm trying to recall right now. I didn't always receive a shot list, but I think eventually I would, but not on the really quick turnaround jobs.
Okay, so that's the main reason. Basically.
Well, there was one more thing. Well, actually, two more things, because part of that, it wasn't only the quick turnaround time. It was just being alone, isolated in my shitty little apartment and doing something that was really never meant to see the light of day. You know what I mean?
Because it's for internal use, yeah.
Like when you're working on a huge production, you know, if we're talking like Blade Runner 2049 or like some new Star Wars thing, or, you know, a brilliant animated show like Arcane, you are going to probably have some art book released at some point that shows at least some of the storyboard, because people want to see that. Yeah. But if you're doing a commercial for Adidas, like no one is ever meant to see the storyboard, you know? So in that sense, it felt a little bit like I was a cog in a machine, and it felt a little bit thankless, but I was always credited as far as I saw, until I think it was the Yamaha job. And I'm not going to say who was involved with that and who the production company was. I don't even think I have all of the details, but I just know that when it was finally released, every single person was credited except for me. And I was kind of like, fuck, come
Except
on.
for the storyboard
Yeah,
artist.
yeah.
Oh, okay. I
And
see.
that made it feel especially thankless.
Yeah.
It could have just been a simple oversight.
Yeah.
Maybe my expectations were just not right for the industry. I mean, how often is a storyboard artist actually credited on a commercial job? But I feel like in our community, we are always trying to help each other out
Yeah.
and, talk about who we're working with. Just it's like an unwritten rule. It's just
Yeah.
something that you do for each other, right? And it was those, the combination of three factors, right? Like the turnaround time,
Yeah.
the isolation, and then just how thankless it felt, that made me think like, why am I even doing this? My hand hurts.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm not getting sunshine. I want to go out at golden hour and take pictures, and I can't even do that because I have a deadline in like 12 hours, right?
Yeah.
So when you reached out to me in January 2021 and said, I'm going to be shooting a music video pro bono for a singer that I know. Do you want to take some like companion photos, test out some portrait shots and stuff?
Okay.
I jumped at that opportunity. I don't know if you remember.
I mean, I remember the obviously the
shoot
project and
itself,
like
yeah,
the shoot
yeah.
itself at Futako Tamagawa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
on the Futako Shinchi side.
yes. But I didn't realize back then that this would basically, I don't know if it actually gave you the push or whatever.
No,
like,
it absolutely did.
Okay,
Because
that's kinda
I was
cool.
always shooting like travel stuff, really, right? I was always shooting like
Yeah.
empty shrine in the woods
Yeah.
and like sacred temple and Japanese street photography, which I love. But, like everyone and their mom does that now, right? And I had no experience really shooting like portraits, especially of people that I didn't know. So I thought that was such a great opportunity.
Yeah. And that was 2021. So like in 4 years, like how much, because now when I think like, I kind of like forgot like the illustration part kind of thing. Like for me, you've been like a photographer all the time and doing all this stuff.
No, I have been just not professionally for most
like
of it.
this is
right?
like in the back of my mind now, especially like in our company now. Yeah, you are like our photographer, right? And also like doing like all those. For me, you are like the creative side of our company, and that has been burned into my head now. So now you're talking about like the time before. It's like, oh, I realized. All right, yeah, there was this.
I need to burn that into everyone's head somehow, This right here, this is the creative guy.
Yeah.
Right?
So I guess maybe we can use this and like now talk a little bit about why we decided even like to start a company. I mean, 2021, you just mentioned, that was kind of, would you say that's the first time where we officially kind of, like we worked together on my documentary thing, but that was like a thing that we worked together to create for another person. Is that the first time? Because I have like the Hugo Boss shoot in my mind, which was kind of like the...
right. But Hugo Boss, that was videography, right? I was like second camera on that.
Right, but that felt to me like to be like the official first collaboration between us and where we're... but I don't know, like maybe it's actually the music video, I guess, because that comes before. Huh?
I don't know. We've worked with Hugo Boss or for Hugo Boss 2 or 3 times now, was it?
Yeah, I think the very first time, if I don't mistake, either it was 2021 or 2022 when they actually opened that store
that one in Ginza, yeah.
at the Tokyo Plaza.
Of course, I remember that, but I guess we were working together on that series of indie music videos with companion photos prior to that. And then, of course, there was the Hugo Boss job, which would have been our first video-only collaboration together, right? And, thank you once again for bringing me into that.
No.
Yeah, because in early 2020, or late 2022, I guess, that was like our first full music video where we had an actual DP and some lighting and more preparation and like hair and makeup team, right? So Hugo Boss is before that.
Before that, and I think maybe right after or before that, that was the first time. I know that was in March.
Yeah.
The conversation we had with actually Robert back then to create a company. And then
now you're talking 2020.
That was 2022.
Was it?
Yes, because that's when we decided we want
Okay,
to
you
do
know
a
what?
company.
Yeah,
But I
my
don't
bad.
know-
My bad. The music video that I just mentioned with the DP, Mikhail,
Yeah.
right? That was late 2021. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
it was before then. Okay. Well, anyway, yeah, we.
I mean, we're just
2000
old men, you know, like wallowing in our dementia.
But now, like, yeah, 2022 is what we usually say to everyone, right? That's when we decide to create the company. And do you actually remember our very first company name?
Yeah. Yeah, of course
Do you
I do.
remember it?
Why, you want me to say it?
Yes, because I think it was.
Tamago Media.
But the reason why we didn't go for it was because apparently, yeah, something with Tamago in its name sounds kind of like.
Well, no, this
Immature, or what
I
was it?
feel like this is actually a funny thing that probably most people would either have no idea about,
Yeah.
or they would have no reason to even think of any of this. But there's a lot of stupid waseigo and Japanese English names out there, whether it be like a company name or a song name or movie name or who knows what, right?
Yeah.
And vice versa. You know, you can find some of that in English. I think the really famous example that was used, at least back 10 years ago when I first came here, was like Ultra Super Dry Japan or...
What
It was like that jacket or clothing company. I think it was called Super Dry Japan, and it was like raincoats. And they used kanji in their title or in their company name and products that apparently just looked ridiculous. Almost as ridiculous as like Ariana Grande's, you know, tattoo. Yeah, and it meant like barbecue or something, but she thought it was the Japanese translation of her album title, which was like Seven Rings or something. Yeah. But anyways. So there's a lot of crazy Japanese English and vice versa. But so Tamago Media, why did we not go with that? So I feel like I had actually a pretty unique insight into the Japanese mind. God, that sounds pretentious, but I basically asked all of my relevant or longtime students at the Eikaiwa their thoughts from a Japanese point of view. How does this company name sound? Because obviously we were going to be working in Japan, and I think we wanted, and we still do to some extent, to have Japanese clients, especially like governmental ones, right? So I wanted to know, how does this sound to a Japanese person? And I thought Tamago Media was really cute. I just loved the idea of having like a cute little egg logo.
Yeah, same.
And I mentioned this to, you know, my wife, my now wife, and a few students, and they were like, that sounds kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like that sounds a little immature. It sounds like you're not a fully formed company. Like, why are you guys an egg? You know, like
right.
naze tamago ne? Right. But
right, that was the feedback.
yeah, I felt super self-conscious because of that feedback. I was like, oh my God, I had a terrible idea. But you thought it was super cute and cool too, right?
Yeah. I mean, we were about to go for it, and you already create like some mock-ups for like logos and stuff, and then I created mock-ups of everything. I created some of the craziest looking logos you'll ever see. But now, how did we end up with Sensu Studio again?
I think I was actually just running through a ton of relatively simple Japanese words, like nouns, whatever, that I felt conveyed some sense of Japanese culture. There you go. That's how it happened. No, but just basically words that would convey that we were not only a company in Japan, but we were a company that was fond of Japanese culture and maybe proud to be here.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the best explanation, but you know, I'm just trying to think, put my like mindset into where it was those 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was going through a whole bunch of different objects. You know, I was like, should we call it like, who knows, like Neko Media or like Hashi Productions or who the hell knows, right?
Okay.
I don't remember the specifics, but I remember thinking sense. Like a Japanese fan, right? And I thought, well, that's kind of funny because it sounds like a Japanese person saying the English word sense, right? As in, sensu. Do you have common sense? Or, you know, he has a strong creative sense, or I like your fashion sense, right? And I thought, well, maybe we could be kind of a sensible and sensitive company, right?
Yeah. I guess by now people already kind of understand why we're calling our podcast Talking Sensu. I hope.
Genius.
Yeah. Also, thanks to Jeremy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I really, when you presented, or not present, but when you told me about your idea, I really liked it. I remember that. Also, like, it just was easy to pronounce, and like, I think like
Sensu Studio.
Yeah, like any kind of like, and also because I think I read like somewhere that if both words start with the same letter, it's like easier to remember or something like that. So
You're probably just talking about me conveying my love of alliteration to you.
Okay, maybe that.
Yeah.
I don't know. But
or maybe you read it, but I have always liked alliteration. Back when I was an editor for that website in 2015, the American manager was like, stop trying to use alliteration in every single one of your titles. And I was like...
Wait, so that was
no.
something you did on purpose?
Oh, yeah.
You knew about...
Yeah, no, I still do that.
Okay. Yeah, this is something
I always
like,
do that.
I just realized, I think, back then when you...
No, I can't rhyme, but I do love alliteration.
Okay. Yeah, and since then, Sensu Studio, or Sensu Studio was, we created Sensu Studio in 2022, but it was not officially registered until actually the beginning of 2025, a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it took us just that long because as a foreigner...
there's just so many hoops that we have to jump through, so much like red tape, right? So many restrictions, not only financial restrictions, but also, legal and governmental ones, right?
Yeah. But we finally did it. And
now we just need to actually have our own studio.
Yeah, actually, it's quite funny because back then, like I think I told you that, it's fine, like even if we have the studio in our name, people won't like... It's kind of like with other names, like sometimes like it doesn't need to mean literally studio or like...
is Universal Studios really universal? Right?
Or like, I don't know, like Apple, and is it about an Apple or something like that?
Because I remember you mentioning Apple to me, because I was like, wait, but if we call ourselves Sensu Studio, won't people think we're like manufacturing or selling like fans?
Yeah,
right?
Right.
And then you brought up the Apple thing, and that kind of like... That got rid of my worries somewhat, right? I felt a little bit less anxious, right? But when I was trying to create the logo, I was like, we either look like it's something about shells, like clams and shellfish, or it seems like we're the Shell gasoline and petrol company from North America. And
I remember.
Yeah, man, branding is tough. Like it's funny because I majored in graphic design, but I am not a great brand designer, that's for sure.
I disagree, I guess. I think you did a good job with our logo. And overall, like branding, like, you even started like a branding guide for us. Like,
and now you see why I started working with this guy. Just making me feel all warm and pleasant inside.
Maybe we can go a little bit like, why did we actually decide to create a company or work together? Again?
Yeah, but you already said earlier that you basically wanted to be your own boss. You wanted to get out of from under people's thumb.
Yes.
And I just wanted power and glory. Which is kind of the same thing if you think about it.
Yeah,
right?
Not much has changed, I guess, since then. Let's see.
The thing is, like, I don't need to be the lord and master of every project I'm involved in.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm working with people who are much more experienced and accomplished than me.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to be sharing, this company and this endeavor with you.
Yeah.
I just, similar to you, I just didn't want someone lording over me, micromanaging me.
Yeah.
And look what happens, now you're lording over me and micromanaging me. And
because it's my job.
Yeah.
Someone needs to
you're the brains, and I don't know what I am. Not the brawn. Maybe the breasts.
But you're definitely stronger than me.
So we're a year in. Yeah. We're almost a year in, and how has that year been? I still think that due to the support of that we offer each other, as well as the support we've gained from our friends and family and some of our colleagues. Yeah. Shout out to Somnium Film here. I think we've done pretty well, and even if we aren't exactly rolling in dough right now, I think we've learned a lot, and it's only going to make the next year better.
Yeah, I'm really actually excited. It's the same thing 1 year ago when I think you were in Canada and I was in Germany, and I was really excited to come back to Japan and then start this company with you.
Right.
And I kind of feel now we already have like some new things planned, including this podcast, I guess.
Yeah.
So
some personal endeavors that we hope to reveal to the world, and hopefully some fun collaborations.
Yes. So I'm really looking forward to this and really excited. But I think there are definitely, as you said, some things we need to improve in and learn from. And yeah,
dude, everything is a learning experience. Yeah. And I hate saying that, and I hate that it sounds like a cliche, but everything really has been a learning experience. And my goal is to reach a point where we're not just using everything as a learning experience, trying to figure out what we could have done better.
Yeah.
And to a point where every single job is like something that we are truly proud of, and something that, is stands on its own, where every job is something that we can be equally proud of, and everyone involved with can be proud of, you know? Yeah, and that's not to say that we aren't proud of anything that we've done, but it just feels like we have a long way to go, but I hope the journey will be a fun one.
Yeah. I hope we can continue this podcast and for the next episode have like a guest. Let's see. But I think this was really fun, like talking to you. I mean, most of the stuff, even if I knew most of the stuff, it was kind of nice to learn something new about your past and like even things.
I mean, I didn't realize that there were things about each other's pasts that we actually didn't know. Yeah. So that's been kind of interesting. Of course, some of this was just refreshing our memories, but otherwise there were some fun little tidbits personally in there.
I'm really excited about the next year, or like this year, I guess.
We'll see what it has in store for us, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we should finish up here now. I feel like we've kind of come to the natural conclusion. So once again, this has been Talking Sensu with Sensu Studio, with Hai and Jeremy, myself. And just to reiterate, we have decided to start this podcast not only to give people an insight into what it's like for foreigners living in Japan who are working in the film industry, but also to hopefully kind of build up our own network and the community in general.
Yeah.
And to just document kind of what our experiences are and where our company is going.
Yes.
And what we hope to achieve, right?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, exactly like that. Basically share our journey and also the journey with from our guests, I guess.
Yeah. So for anyone who is still here watching or listening, thank you very much, and hope to see you in the next one.
Yes, please follow us at Sensu Studio, and see you. Bye-bye.